welcome back to the MVP podcast series. I'm your host, Mia, and today is our last episode of the series. Now, I know I said it last week, but I just want to say it again, okay? I am so grateful to have had this opportunity to make a podcast series about something that I think is so important and is on the rise in athletics. Just want to give a shout out to Lewis and Clark's MVP program for allowing me the opportunity to do such a cool thing and try something new in making a video podcast. So thank you. I hope that everything that we've covered so far has been interesting and insightful, and hopefully something stuck with you. So for today's episode, I kind of want to talk about something that I wish I had available to me when I was going through the decision of whether or not I wanted to play and navigating the life as a non-athlete. So today's episode is kind of about the what's next part about transitioning out of the sport, whether that be due to retirement or due to injury or any other unforeseen reason. So I kind of want to start off the episode with sharing my personal experience and journey with volleyball and coming to the decision to end volleyball and how I handled that. I decided to step away from the volleyball team at my university right before my junior season started, and I knew that it was going to be a huge lifestyle change, but at the time, I didn't really grasp how huge it actually was going to be. It was a transformational decision for me in so many different ways. Immediately after I told my coach about my choice to step away, I felt a huge weight off my shoulders. I had been thinking about stepping away from the team pretty much the entire second half of summer leading up to the preseason. So finally being able to commit to a decision that I was contemplating for so long was very relieving. Honestly, for me personally, the timing of it all worked out really great because, you're moving in right away back to school, start of the school year, all the fun things that come with that. So I was super busy with that, and I honestly really didn't have much time at the beginning to miss anything volleyball related or think about what I might be missing out. When my classes started, it was very strange but very freeing to not have to worry about practice later or trying to cram my homework in before practices, you know the drill. I was entirely on my own schedule, and this was something that was completely new to me. And then as the first few weeks of school went on, there were times where I was overcome with a little bit of guilt and a little bit of sadness, especially when I saw pictures or videos from my old teammates. It just made me reminisce on the good times and brought back everything good that the sport brought to me. I even remember going to my first game as a spectator, and it was tough. When I walked into the gym, I was hit with this wave of emotion. Just watching my former teammates, warm up and get hyped to the playlist and just having a good time playing the sport they love, I got a little emotional, a little teary-eyed. What really got me was, when they announced the lineup for the game, I just missed that feeling immensely. Now, during that moment of emotion, I acknowledged my feelings and I allowed myself to be sad because this was something that was a huge part of my life for 10 plus years. But I did have to take a second to sit back and remind myself of the reasons why I stepped away and why I made the choice I did. Even though it was one of the hardest choices I have ever had to make, I knew that it was right for me, and I did not regret it once. Because above all, my mental health was far more important for me to focus on rather than continuing to do the sport that wasn't serving me right anymore. So in the months following my choice to step away, I had a ton of free time as compared to my athlete lifestyle. I got to hang out with new people, I got to try new things, and probably the most valuable thing to me was the time I had to reflect on myself. I was able to discover even more about myself than what I thought I already knew about myself as an athlete. Like most people, my sport was my entire identity. It shaped me into the person I am today, and I am forever grateful for volleyball and all of the life lessons and friendships and everything that it brought to me. I still continue to apply some of these lessons in my day-to-day life. I still have these friends that I've had since I was 10. It's really been a huge part of me. But losing the identity of being a student athlete left me with quite literally no choice but to discover more about my inner self, and actually helped me learn even more life lessons. So what I'm trying to get at here is that you will be okay when you are done with your sport, whether that be retirement, injury, or again, unexpected reasons. I'm not saying it's not a hard transition, because for many people it is. For me, it was. But having the right support system and coping skills can really make all the difference. Fortunately for me, I had a wonderful support system in my family, in my friends, and even my teammates. And I am so grateful for that. You know who you are if you're listening. Thank you for supporting me in that hard decision. So with all that said, I realize that I am fortunate to have had those wonderful people around me to support me, but I know that that is probably not the case for everyone. Kind of like the last episode we talked about, your family can have a significant impact on your reason to continue playing the sport or your reason to discontinue playing the sport. Like we talked about, parents can become over involved, and that can put a lot of pressure on their student athletes, and that can really carry with the athlete into their years as a collegiate athlete. And this over involvement and this need or want for your child to keep playing the sport can make it really difficult for the student athlete to feel like they're going to be accepted if they step away from the sport because of whatever reason it might be affecting them negatively. So I thought I'd leave some tips about the significant transition that is bound to happen for many people, because let's be real, not many people continue to play their sport beyond their years as a college athlete. So here we go. Number 1, take some time to reflect on your experience. So for me, I personally love to journal, and journaling was a big thing for me, just getting my feelings out, an unbiased piece of paper to hear my thought process, get me through it all, and allowed me to reminisce on the good times and the bad. You can also just sit back and think about your achievements, what you gained from the sport, what you're hoping to let go of that the sport may have brought into your life, some lessons you've learned, maybe how those lessons can be translated into the real life, in your work, in your friends, and so on. I feel like it's important to not just push it away and really just take the time to think about how much it brought you and express your gratitude for it. Number 2 is keep yourself busy. For me, this was really, really fun because I had the chance to find a bunch of new hobbies. And honestly, something that I started doing that I think is pretty fun is to start making a physical list of all of the things that you say you want to do, but you never did because, maybe you didn't have time or you just kept pushing it off. But now you have the time to start checking those things off. So for me, I wanted to read more. I wanted to do some more crafting. I wanted to cook more. I got to go to the gym. You get the idea. Start making a list and get to work. Start finding your new hobbies. Number 3, embrace the change. Again, allow yourself to acknowledge the crazy whirlwind of emotions that comes with this life transition. Again, change is a part of the human experience. So avoiding it isn't really going to get you anywhere, but embracing it will. Number 4, stay active. For me, this was huge. I was able to use my athleticism and experiment with new forms of physical movement. Take some time to figure out what exercises works for you. You now have complete control over your body and how you exercise it. So have some fun with it. Number 5, set new goals for yourself. In athletics, they teach us to set goals all the time and reach those goals. And that, in my opinion, is not something that should stop beyond being an athlete. And having new goals to reach, it just helps maintain that work ethic that you were taught as a student athlete. And it just helps you get a better sense of direction and purpose. Number 6, find a support system to talk about this change with. Now, this could be your family, your friends, your teammates, maybe a former teammate who also went through a similar experience. Just be open and share those thoughts and feelings with the trusted individuals, because again, having a support system is a critical component to this crazy life change. And last but not least, number 7, pay attention to your well-being and your mental health. Again, I'm a big journaler. I know that's not for everybody, but I recommend keeping a little journal. There's even the health app on your iPhone that you can do a quick little emotion and mood log thing. And I think just keeping track of how you're feeling weekly is something that could be really beneficial. Going with that, don't hesitate to reach out to a professional if you feel like that is something you need. And if you're in college, take advantage of those therapy services that your university university might offer. For many institutions, it's free or you have a certain number that's free. And the fact that it's free is not something that is going to be very common beyond college. So take advantage of that. The main message I want listeners to take away from this episode or this series as a whole is that you are not alone. Again, for most people, being an athlete beyond college is literally just not an option. So taking the time to learn and understand and be prepared with how to cope with the feelings that are going to come from being a retired athlete is very important. So when you reach the point of now what? I encourage you to take the time to acknowledge your feelings and give gratitude to your sport and what it did for you. Use the skills you learned as an athlete to benefit your life as a non-athlete. After all, you don't really lose the identity of being an athlete. You just find new ways to use those qualities like discipline, motivation, resilience, teamwork, and you use those skills to apply them to other areas of your life. So that kind of wraps up this episode. My experience with choosing to step away from the sport that I absolutely adored and love, and I still do, but making that decision was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And it was really hard to see, how it might affect me long term. But what I've come to learn is that it really just helped me grow as an individual, discover more about myself. I had more time to focus on my studies, and I still feel like an athlete because, again, I possess all of these qualities that an athlete has. I use them elsewhere. So there's that. I had so much fun making this podcast series. It's a little bit bittersweet that it's over. I really hope that beyond my little series that MVP continues to make some more episodes. And I really hope that everybody listening enjoyed this 5-episode series. Thank you so much for listening and supporting me through this. And I hope you have a great life. Bye.